Hi, fifth graders. Welcome to Math with Miss Janky. This is Module 6, Lesson 1, Addition with Unlike Denominators. So today we're looking at how do you add fractions with different denominators, and we're going to go through the steps for this with notes. Anything I write down, you also copy down. Feel free to pause the video at any point. And we're going to start with step 1. We are going to get a common denominator. Remember, denominator is our bottom number in our fraction. And we're going to get our common denominator by listing the multiples of each number. So we're going to list the multiples of 8 and the multiples of 4. And I'm going to show how I do that. I'm going to do multiples of 8, multiples of 4. So I'm going to do 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 3 is 24, 8 times 4 is 32, and let's see if that's enough. I'm going to do 4 times 1, which is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, and we're looking for the least common multiple that they have. So 8, we see 8 and 8. So we're going to take that least common multiple and we're going to use that as our denominator. So I'm going to rewrite the problem. And this time when I'm going to write the new equation, I'm going to use that common denominator. So let's switch colors and move on to step 2. Rewrite the problem with the common denominator. All right, so I'm going to take my fraction bars and I'm going to change my denominator to 8. Now looking at my original problem, how did I get from 8 to 8? Well, that's just multiplying by 1. So this fraction is going to stay the same at 3/8. But on this fraction, how did I get from 4 in my original problem to 8? And hopefully we're all recognizing multiply by 2. And notice whatever I do to the denominator, 4 times 2 to get 8, I have to do to my numerator. The numerator is my top number. So now I'm going to do 1 times 2, and I get 2. And I've just created an equivalent fraction. 2 over 8 is equivalent to 1 over 4. Let's move on to step 3. Step 3, we are going to add across the numerator. So that's across the top. Okay, so adding across the top, I'm just doing 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. Bring over that fraction bar. And step 4 is I keep my original denominator. In addition and subtraction of fractions, you always keep the original for addition and subtraction. So step 4, keep the common denominator. So 5 over 8. Now this problem didn't require us to simplify at all. 5 over 8 is my final answer. Let's try another one. We're going to follow those same steps we just went over. The new problem is 1/2 plus 1/5. Okay, step 1 says, can't see the 1/2. There we go. Step 1 says that we need to get a common denominator. So 1/2 plus 1/5. I'm going to start by listing out my multiples. Now I'm doing multiples of 2 and multiples of 5. So you can count by 2s, or you can count by 5s, or you can do 2 times 1, 2 times 2. Whatever works better for your brain is okay. See, sorry about my camera. Okay, so for 2's, I'm just going to count by 2's. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Okay, hopefully that's enough. Let's try 5's, counting by 5's. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay, let's see if we have a common denominator that we can use from our list. And I'm looking for the least common denominator. Okay, 2 and 5, no. 5, 4, and 10. Oh, 10? I see a 10 over here also. So 10 is going to be your least common denominator. My next step says that I need to rewrite the problem with my common denominator of 10. Now in my original problem, how did I get from 2 to 10? Hopefully we're thinking, yeah, we multiply by 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Whatever you do to the numerator, you have to do to the denominator. So numerator and denominator, you have to do the same thing to each in addition and subtraction of fractions. So I just created an equivalent fraction. 5/10 is equivalent to 1/2. Now over here, how did I get from 5 to 10? Multiply by 2. Multiply by 2. So 5 times 2 gave me 10. Same thing to the numerator. 1 times 2 gives me 2. So I've created another equivalent fraction there. So I have 5 over 10 plus 2 over 10. Next step is step 3. Step 3 says we're just going to add across the top. Only add the numerators. 5 plus 2 is 7. And step 4, keep the common denominator. 10 was my common denominator. Final answer, 7 over 10. Okay, let's try a little word problem. Let's see if I can flip my paper over here. All right, here's your word problem. Hillary is making a dress. This is a real life problem. And I'm trying to write large so it's easy for you to see. Hillary is making a dress with 1/3 yard of yellow fabric and 1/12 yard of blue fabric. How much fabric will she use total? Okay, so I'm going to pull out the important information in my problem, 1/3 and 1/12, and my label is going to be yard. I'm trying to see how much is she going to do in total. So I do have an addition problem going on here, and I'm going to have 1/3 plus 1/12. Okay, now we don't have the steps on this page, so let's see if we can remember them, and it's okay if you need to flip back and reference your notes. That's fine too. Okay, step 1, let's get a common denominator. And I'm going to do this by listing my multiples. 3's are easy. Let's count by 3's. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Let's do 12. 12, 24, 36. Oh, do you see it already? Do we see 12 and 12 as the least common multiple? Hopefully we're recognizing that. You could have also done 12 times 1, 12 times 2, 12 times 3, and it's okay if you need to write it off to the side like this. I'm completely fine with that if you need to do that. Okay, so our least common denominator is 12. How did I get from 3 to 12? Multiply times 4. And you can also use the trick, how many spaces? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you can know how many times to multiply it by. That's a trick that you are welcome to use. So whatever I did to my denominator, multiply by 4, I have to do to my numerator, multiply by 4. So I now have an equivalent fraction, 4 over 12. Now I'm going to work with 1/12. Well, 12 and 12. Well, I could just take that fraction, it's just multiplied by 1. So I'm going to keep that at 1/12. So my new problem I'm looking at is just right here, 4/12 plus 1/12. Okay, next step, we add only the numerators, only the top number, 4 plus 1. Easiest question of the day, 4 plus 1 gives us 5. And that denominator, we're keeping our common denominator of 12. Final answer, 5/12. All right, fifth graders, that was our notes for today. I do want you to take care of an assignment in your textbook. You are going to do textbook page number 255, but I only want you to do numbers 5 through number 10, and you have to show your work. Just like I showed steps for every single one, you need to show your work just like that as well. Now, on this page, you are going to see in the instructions, it asks you to do modeling. You don't need to worry about modeling for these problems. I'm okay with you just doing the standard algorithm method.